In this era of deep complexity.
Okay, Honest Abe never lied. That's the good thing. That's the big difference between Abraham Lincoln and you.
Beyond the edges of black or white.
We choose truth over facts.
It's time to be notionally accurate.
Precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
Here's your host, Captain Kirk.
Welcome one and all to the 7th episode of the Notionally Accurate podcast. Produced live right here at the One Man's Burden Studios in my undisclosed compound, located in Castro's Royal Palace in Havana, Cuba. My name is Captain Kirk and I'll be your affable host. The futile effort to remove Biden won't go anywhere, so long as Joe Biden and Hunter, the smartest man Joe knows, are still allowed to treat him like a child attending his first kindergarten class. The freak out over Biden will subside once the GOP has their convention later this month. And the bedwetters, their term not mine, will turn their circular firing squad back into wagons and work to tell voters that actually Joey is as sharp as ever. After all, look at his busy schedule since the debate.
I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020.
Wait, are they really including the Waffle House visit afterward when he was allegedly sick? Yuck. The ABC interview with Columbia grad and Democrat hatchet man George Stephanopoulos was not good. Indeed, Joey was not the goodest he could have been.
Mr. President, I've never seen a president at 36% approval get reelected.
Well, I don't believe that's my approval rate. That's not what our polls show.
And if you stay in and Trump is elected and everything you're warning about comes to pass, how will you feel in January?
I feel as long as I gave it my all and I did the goodest job as I know I can do. That's what this is about.
He took credit for creating NATO. That sound you hear is Truman rolling over in his grave.
And the question on so many people's minds right now is, can you serve effectively for the next 4 years?
George, I'm the guy that put NATO together, the future. No one thought I could expand it. I'm the guy that shut Putin down. No one thought could happen. I'm the guy that put together the South Pacific Initiative with AUKUS. I'm the guy that got 50 nations, out, not only in Europe, outside of Europe as well, to help Ukraine.
He bashed polling firms as less reliable than ever.
Yet you're still falling further behind.
You guys keep saying that. George, you know polling better than anybody. Do you think polling data is accurate as it used to be?
He weirdly dismissed Senator Mark Warner's reported efforts to rally Democrat senators to beg him not to seek the nomination, claiming that Warner...
We've never had that. He also tried to get the nomination, too.
Which CNN's Caitlin Collins accurately fact-checked, predictably resulting in a stream of intense angst and hatred by supposed Biden voters. Incidentally, the Democrat Party's main election mantra, that Biden will protect democracy, is not selling well to voters, according to liberal professor Austin Surratt. Have no fear, though. Biden's been busy making the rounds on friendly media, like Philly's WURD. Let's have a listen to that.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman to serve with a black president. I'm proud to be the first black woman in the Supreme Court.
Jesus Christ. The host gave herself a pat on the back afterwards, so that's nice. But it cost her her job. Whoops. Having produced for multiple radio hosts across 4 years, I would never be given questions to ask or avoid. Topics, maybe, but never questions. So Lawler really blew this one. I recently listened to the book American Maelstrom by Michael Cohen. Not that Michael Cohen. About the 1968 election. A book not about the history of that election per se, but certain aspects surrounding it like the Vietnam War, the race riots, LBJ, Bobby Kennedy, and more. A lot went into the decision for Johnson to say no thanks to the nomination. For example, a groundswell of derision regarding a foreign war that doesn't really exist against Biden, even accounting for the Israel-Hamas conflict. That being the case, I stand by my position that Biden will remain the Democrat nominee, absent a health concern, wink wink. I predict that by the GOP convention later this month, the Democrat Party will realize they're stuck with Biden and rally around the walking corpse until November, like the infamous Dr. Strangelove scene riding the bomb off the plane. If only the Democrats had some sort of stress test to determine if Biden was up to the job of campaigning for re-election, like an actual primary perhaps. CNN provides polling to show how Democrat voters want Joey to remain the nominee, and points out when Truman declined to run in 1952 and Johnson declined to run in 1968, the political atmosphere was far different.
Right. You know, there are two incumbents who were going to potentially run and decided to get out. In 1952, it was Harry S. Truman. In 1968, it was Lyndon Baines Johnson. So, look, they quit before the nominations were decided, right? They quit as the primary season was going on. This is the choice for nominee before incumbents quit. Look, in 1952, with Harry S. Truman, look at this. He was well below 50%. He was just at 31%. He was losing the primaries to Estes Quafafer at 35%. But look at that, 31%. That is way, way, way low. Just 66% of Democrats right now want Joe Biden to stay in the race. This was just 31% for Truman back in 52. How about Lyndon Johnson in 68? After RFK entered the race, RFK was leading in the Democratic primary with 44%. Look at this. LBJ was just getting 41% of the Democratic vote. These numbers are far worse than what Joe Biden is facing right now among the Democratic electorate. Yeah, overall voters want him to leave, but Democratic voters like Joe Biden, the numbers Joe Biden's getting right now don't look anything like the last two times the Democratic incumbents decided, you know what, it's time for me to step aside.
Watch how the media covers up Biden's awful debate.
By and large, the majority of the people that I have heard from coast to coast, want to focus on beating Donald Trump. They have just as much agita about this Democratic infighting and hand-wringing as they do about a couple of sentences that Joe Biden flubbed during the debate.
With just under 4 months to go, keep your head on a swivel. This is going to get messy.
Y'all just tell me who the nominee is going to be. Let me know when you guys are finished fighting amongst yourselves who I got to vote for in November to keep Hitler out the White House. That's all I want to know. Who I got to vote for to keep Hitler out the White House.
From steadfastly not reading the majority opinion from Chief Justice Roberts, who is not a hardline conservative, to quoting only from the Columbia grad Justice Sotomayor's absurd opinion, leftists in the West are having a hard time digesting the Supreme Court decision on presidential immunity. No, the president cannot murder American citizens. No, a president cannot use SEAL Team 6 to assassinate political rivals. So leave it up to British media guy David Aaronovitch, who stepped in mud when he tweeted that Biden needs to hurry up and kill President Trump. It's okay though, it's only satire. More bedwetting has been made over elections in Europe and elsewhere, such as India. It's important to note that applying American political spectrums abroad is difficult, as even the much feared right wing support their country's welfare spending and entitlement programs. Having said that, Indian Prime Minister Modi's party, in American political framing, nationalist and small c conservative, has retained power in their country's parliament, though at a smaller majority after their election. In the European Parliament, so-called rightward parties won a 30% share, which doesn't sound large, but in a plurality system is not insignificant. The British Labour Party, more liberal than American Democrats, won handily in their elections. So Keir Starmer will be the new Prime Minister. The French elections resulted in a coalition of left-wing parties. There was a doubling in the National Rally rightward parties' seat totals. In response, the leftward party formed a coalition bloc with Macron's to create a leftist bloc to stave off political wilderness territory. With the Independence Day weekend past us and seemingly tumultuous times ahead, here's an excerpt of a doggo and his soldier/owner partner were united after the two were separated when the human was transferred to other duty.
It just wasn't possible, so John continued to serve on the island.
Leaving him was rough. Yeah, it was definitely hard.
Harder than you anticipated?
Oh yeah, much harder. Think about, your dog at home if you have one, you just imagine just walking out the door and just leaving them to someone else. It's very sad, but they're going to be in good hands.
And while John was in good hands, before Staff Sergeant Alcala left, he made his partner a promise.
I told them when I was leaving there, I said, I am coming back for this dog.
So when he learned John was set to retire from active duty after 8 years of service, he went straight to his wife, Brittany.
Brittany, any sort of negotiation that you kind of leaned into?
Gotta fix the backyard.
Okay.
Yep.
As the Alcalas got to work, the four-legged hero honored with a retirement ceremony on his own Hawaiian base, which included a special reading of the poem dedicated to the military working dog, called Guardians of the Night.
If we should meet again on another street, I will gladly take up your fight. Military working dog John, Whiskey 248, is relieved from active duty service.
John, humble as he can be, more focused on his toy than any attention. After the send-off, John packed up and headed to the airport with a handler from the American Humane Organization, where he was celebrated once again, this time by the citizens he served.
American Airlines, please join me in welcoming John on board and express our gratitude.
But no kind of accolade could compete with what was to come.
Come here, Bubba's. Oh, look at you. Hi, Bubba's.
Credit to NBC's Today Show for that story. Watch the entire segment, linked in the description. Anyway, thanks for listening to episode 7 of Notionally Accurate. I'm your host, Captain Kirk. More to come on future episodes. Find this podcast on SoundCloud, Rumble, and YouTube. Follow me on Twitter/X at NotionallyACC. NotionallyACC. Email me at notionallyaccurate@protonmail.com. That's notionallyaccurate@protonmail.com. Take care, and remember, even if you can't be factually correct, you can always be notionally accurate.